So this is the day 2 of me being sick. Yesterday I woke up and I basically started feeling unwell, and the workout was crap. Today, that's progressed, so now I have achy joints, chest is full of crap, sore throat, headache. So I kind of just thought to myself, let me just do something. So I ended up doing the bar for sets of 10. And I think I worked up to 100 kilos for a set of 3. It was just basically just going through the motion and whatever, and they're not fun. These sessions are not fun, whatever. You guys all know, how these sessions kind of feel. But as I was kind of going through the session, I was kind of like feeling sorry for myself. I can imagine. I'm like, man, I had one good week. Now this is 2 weeks in a row that I'm really bad. I haven't been able to train and whatever. And then what popped into my head was, a patient that I looked after. Actually, my first patient that I've ever seen in my life as a nurse. It was a first year nursing student, first clinical placement, first shift. I've rocked up to the shift. It's like a midday shift. We're kind of standing around waiting for the previous shift to kind of hand over to us, so we know the patient, so we know what's happening. And as that was kind of like happening, one of the rooms, one of the call bells went off, and a nurse said to me, just go in there and see what's happening. So I've gone in there and I saw a fella in bed there. He was kind of in his 40s, very sick looking guy, man. Like I've never seen a guy like that. When you're 18 years old and you're very immature and you kind of think about the NBA, you think about cars, and you think about girls, and you think about all these type of things that kind of usually go around in an 18-year-old brain. And then you kind of get put into a situation like that, and you're seeing a guy in his 40s basically on his deathbed. Later on I found out they had lung cancer. It spread everywhere. So I've kind of gone into the room, introduced myself. I was in shock. I still remember feeling like, I remember this energy. Like I walked into, like, this guy was not in a good way, man. I was kind of like almost scared. Like he looked bad, man. So I walked up, introduced myself, and he said to me, look, man, I need to use the toilet. I said, like, how do you want to go about it? I'm thinking, like, you don't look like you can walk, kind of thing. And he said, oh, just grab me the commode. And he had some oxygen on, and he was breathing really heavily, just like laying there in bed. So I've grabbed the commode, put it next to his bed, and he's like, oh, just kind of help me up. So, I've grabbed his hand a little bit, kind of set him up in bed, and just, I'll never forget this, man. Like he went from laying down to sitting up in bed. And man, like he was so exhausted. Like it's like he went for a 100-meter sprint. You guys have got experience with that, I'm sure. Like you go for a 100-meter sprint all out, like that, huff and like that was his norm, man. Just from sitting up. So got him on the commode, and he was huffing and puffing and whatever. I was just kind of making sure that the oxygen line was kind of like long enough so he can kind of sit on the commode. I left the room. He called the bell again. I've gone in again, put him back into bed. And the following day, I rocked up to work again, to clinical experience, and I learned that he passed away that night. So these type of stories, man, like I feel like I'm lucky to have experienced that, because this type of shit, like I've come in here and I have, I've got a cold, right? Whatever. Like I'm not feeling my strongest. Feeling crappy. I can't move the bar. The bar feels heavy. 100 kilos feels like 180 kilos. Like I'm just achy joints. I'm cold right now. Like, I don't even know if I have a fever. I haven't even checked this morning, but I'm feeling cold. And I'm thinking to myself, as I'm going through this workout, like this story popped into my head, and I thought to myself, man, that guy in bed would have killed to have had his best day to be like my worst day. Right? So here I am complaining about something that's incredible. I'm walking around, I'm eating, I can do things, I can, you know what I mean? Like I'm free. This guy wasn't free, he can't do anything for himself. So as I'm going through this workout today, I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm feeling upset, frustrated. Like I should be pushing to get the 210 kilo squat. I should be, doing volume, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking about, I had one good week, then I had 1 week of nights that kind of put me back in training, and then I'm sick again for basically another week, I'm sure. And I'm kind of feeling sorry for myself, and then this story popped in my head, and I'm like, man, what am I doing, man? What am I doing? Like I've got it bad, you've got it bad. I know sometimes we kind of look up into the sky, and we kind of look at the world records, we look at the guys who are ahead of us. We look, like for me, I look at like Klokov and Luz and these guys who are like freaks, like, they're squatting so much, and Clarence Kennedy, who's just a machine, like, looked up to him for years. And so it's very easy to just get caught with your chin up. So when days like this come around, you're kind of feeling shit house about yourself, right? You're like, man, like I'm so far away from Clarence Kennedy, from Lou and Klokov. I can't afford to have days like this, right? But then you think about this guy that I just told you about, and I'm like, dude, man, you're a rich guy. Like, you've got health. I just think about these moments, and that I've kind of experienced throughout my nursing career, that I've seen even younger guys, man, like in similar shapes. And then just everything crystallizes, everything precipitates, everything kind of becomes clear. I have clarity about life. Even if you never ever get to the pinnacle of whatever the endeavor is that we're after, you've got health, and the baseline thought should be, I'm very lucky, I'm very happy to have what I have, because I think a lot of life, man, is just pure luck, to which family you're born, which country you're born in, the genes that you have. Some people just freaking get sick without any environmental or lifestyle, mistakes. They just go by some bad genes, and they're dealt bad cards, and they basically pay for the consequences. So somebody like me, who's healthy, and I can squat 500 something days in a row, like 500 days in a row I can squat. That means I haven't had proper illness at all for 500 something days. So I think it's very, very important just to kind of like shake yourself, shake all that crap off that you see on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and everyone's just flaunting cars, Ferraris, women, money, mansions. Everyone's talking about this shit, everyone's talking about like this extravagant lifestyle, man. We should just stop and be like, man, look at me, I'm healthy. Some people don't even have that. They don't even think about this shit that we think about, man, like Ferraris and women and mansions and money and buying islands and all this crap. Like, that's a distraction. That's not good for your mental health, man. Like, we should just, like, think about my nursing career, man. Like, you surround yourself with sick people who are just interested in just being normally healthy. They're not worried about the shit that healthy people worry about. Healthy people worry about stupid shit. Sick people worry about the shit that we should all be worrying about, health. So, oh man, I just thought about like steroids and performance enhancement and all this stuff, and I'm just like, man, what a thought that is. So a healthy person is going out of his freaking way to get unhealthy, so he can be a little bit something like what he sees on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. It's just freaking nonsense, man. Anyway, the point is, a lot of us are lucky. And if this is the kind of day that ranks as one of the worst days on your ladder, you're blessed, man. And I'm blessed. And I gotta shake this shitty feeling off, because when I think about, like, when I stop and think about some of these things, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Just stop and think, man. Stop and think. You're healthy. Everything after that is a bonus. That's it. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.